How's it going, you guys? Calico here, and I'm back with a kind of different style of video. Anybody who's here for early videos on this channel knows we've always been into movies, and movies are something I watch a whole lot. So I figured we're halfway through the year, may as well kind of go over every movie I've actually watched this year and just give a short review for it. Name the best and the worst at the end. Who knows? This year I've actually watched 139 movies, kind of a lot of movies. I had a lot of free time in the beginning of the year, so I thought that may even make this video a little bit more interesting just because I was able to log so many movies at the first half of this year. So, we started the year off. Also, if anybody wants to follow me on Letterboxd, here would be my username. I'll also have the link in the description. This is going to kind of be a ramble video with some short reviews on each one. Let's get into it. Started the year off, we watched Do the Right Thing. This is a Spike Lee movie. Honestly, really enjoyed this one. I don't want to say that sometimes movies in this style can be pandering, but they can. They can 100% be pandering. And this movie was just absolutely wonderful. It was fucking authentic. It was genuine. I would 100% recommend it if you have not seen it. I won't get too many spoilers. I won't do any spoilers really for any of these movies. If I do, I'll let you know that it's coming up. From there, it looks like even on the same day we watched Alien. I've actually started a year off, a different year with watching Alien, so I think that's maybe why I did that. Alien's such a great movie. I prefer the sequel a little bit, but this movie is absolutely incredible, especially for the time it was released, late 70s, a year after Halloween, actually. Kind of interesting there. We were getting some great horror movies back to back, but yeah, absolutely wonderful movie. Fucking, again, couldn't recommend this enough. The Green Knight, I watched this movie on a bus. I had a long bus ride I had to take, so I was like, fuck it, I'll watch The Green Knight. I can't say I liked this movie all that much, and I can't say I'd recommend it, but I could recognize at the end of it that it was an extremely well made movie. The story made sense from it was not a lot of dialogue, very visual movie, visual heavy. You had to be paying a lot of attention to it, and watching it on a little phone. Even I could understand that the movie was shot very well, very visually encapsulating. Sorry, the movie was good, is what I'm saying. But I don't know if I'd 100% recommend it unless you're truly like a big fan of film. Anyway, moving on. Pokemon, the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back. Watched this on the same day as well. I remember watching this at night, damn near falling asleep to this one. This movie's fucking classic. Grew up with this movie. I actually remember getting a little Mew Egyptian card out of my VHS for watching this movie. Yeah, here it is right here. I remember getting this card in my VHS for that movie. So, pretty nostalgic for me, 100% there. If you're a Pokemon fan, you've probably already seen this, so I'm not going to sit around and recommend it, but hey, very nostalgic. After that, I watched Blood Simple. This is a Coen Brothers first theatrical movie. I don't know if it's their first movie. I'd assume not. They probably made some shorts and some low-budget handhelds before this, of course, but this movie was pretty good. I don't know if I would really recommend it unless you're a Coen Brothers fan, like a big Coen Brothers fan, like you want to watch all the Coen Brothers movies. But, obviously they've made some unbelievably good movies. Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou? Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou? Hail Caesar's coming to mind for some reason, even though that's not a movie I really love by them. No Country for Old Men, of course. Fargo. They've made a lot of unbelievable movies. And, of course, even in this one, you have an extremely, unbelievably young Frances McDormand setting the seeds for a fucking career-long relationship between her and the Coen brothers. Moving on, Fantastic Mr. Fox. This movie's awesome. A lot of people will probably say, this should be a 5-star movie. I may agree with you. I may be inclined to agree with you there, but there are Wes Anderson movies I definitely prefer more. But, dude, George Clooney as Fantastic Mr. Fox is unreal. Like, his voice is so recognizable. His voice is so fucking good. Everybody's probably seen this movie. If you're watching a Letterboxd ramble video, you've probably seen Fantastic Mr. Fox, so we won't talk about it too much. Also, I should have said a few of the... Pokemon the movie was a rewatch, and then Fantastic Mr. Fox was a rewatch. Batman Begins... Yeah, I know this is actually probably pretty crazy. This is my first time ever watching Batman Begins. I'd seen The Dark Knight a bunch of times, and I was like, I should probably watch Batman Begins. Was very surprised. This movie's pretty awesome. Obviously it was going to be awesome. You have Cillian Murphy, very young Cillian... Well, appears to be... No, I guess it is pretty young. 2005. Young Cillian Murphy playing Scarecrow. That was really cool to see. Obviously, Christian Bale is an unbelievable Batman. Christopher Nolan. Like, you just have so many good, talented people here coming on to do good source material. It was going to always be good. I love the Ra's al Ghul story. I love all the origin story. I love how they really wrap up all the stuff that you already know about Batman, and then really just get into his, his martial arts background. If you're a martial arts fan, I would definitely recommend this movie. And then from there, I watched both The Dark Knight Part 1 and 2. I had already seen The Dark Knight Part 1, but I was just like, damn, I can't remember anything that happened in that damn movie. So I rewatched it and watched this one. And I gotta say, I don't remember much about these movies, even after watching them early in the year. I feel like these are pretty forgettable, and if I rewatched them, I may even consider lowering my overall rating, purely just based on how forgettable they were. Moving on, we went on to watch The Hunger Games. This is a borderline rewatch. I had watched this when I was a kid, and I read the book when I was a kid, but damn, I was really surprised at how good this movie was. All this shit is so intense. You get an on-screen kid death scene, which is kind of base. You don't really get to see that in movies that often. So I really thoroughly enjoyed this one. From there, I watched all the movies after. I thought Catching Fire, Part 2 was just as good as the first one, if not better. They really upped the stakes. I like the ending of this one a lot better. The ending from the first Hunger Games, I really think held it back from being a 5-star movie. So you could argue this one may have been, but I think they were really on the same level. And then the political turn the next two take, I just couldn't really find myself getting fascinated by it. They had no Hunger Game I was interested in. We really barely even got to see anything of it. So, and the first 5-star movie I watched of the year was a rewatch. It was Palm Springs, Andy Samberg's Palm Springs. Man, this is kind of a little, I don't know if it's a low-key movie. I don't want to sit around and gatekeep this movie, but man, please watch this movie. I can't recommend it enough. Unbelievable movie, extremely funny. Honestly, has a good message too. It's just a good overall, well-made movie. I can't recommend it enough. Day after that, watched 500 Days of Summer. I really liked what this movie was going for in the beginning. It actually has one of my favorite scenes in all of film, really, that You Make My Dream Come True scene I thought was, dude, for anybody who has been in that position before, yeah, that scene is 100% accurate. I can't recommend it enough. If you haven't seen that scene, please go and check it out. 500 Days of Summer, You Make My Dreams Come True scene. But I really liked the beginning of this movie. I liked what they were going for. I thought the second half of the movie just didn't make any sense. She just randomly leaves this guy really for no reason, and then she kind of gives a reason. I'm not gonna give spoilers. Like I said, I'm not gonna spoil any movie. But I didn't think this. I thought this movie fell apart horribly, and it really was not something I was super into. Blackberry, my girlfriend really wanted to watch this one. She's a fan of. Well, this movie has, of course, Glenn Howerton from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. My girlfriend's a big fan of Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and I would say I'm a pretty big fan of the show myself. So, figured I'd have to watch this movie, and it was actually pretty damn good. And if you haven't seen it, I would actually recommend it if you like the biopic style of film, more like documentary style of film. Not documentary, but just like as if you were a fly on the wall whenever something important was happening. You know what I mean? But really good, well-made movie, all said and done. Then I watched Shrek, rewatched Shrek, of course. I did this because I was going to actually go on a Shrek movie marathon that I just kind of didn't end up doing. You'll see I actually pick it up a little bit later in the year, but just didn't do it right here anyway. But obviously Shrek's a good movie. I'm not going to talk about it too much. Then I watched the Jungle Book remake, followed by the original Jungle Book. These are two of my favorite movies ever made. I rewatched these. I actually rewatched 4 movies in a row here, so I must have been feeling nostalgic, But 4.5 for the original, for the Jungle Book remake. If you haven't seen this, man, I cannot recommend it enough. Please watch it. It is an unbelievably good, not even retelling of the original. It's just I guess it is at heart a retelling, but the CGI in it is amazing. It's not even live action. It's animated, just like the Lion King one that they did later. And they're both done by Jon Favreau. I would say the Jungle Book one is light years better than that Lion King one that they did though. And then obviously the original Jungle Book. My favorite Disney movie. I'm going to be a little bit biased here, and of course, rated a 5-star. Then I watched The Little Mermaid, another great Disney movie, 4.5 star. I'm pretty sure everybody here has probably seen it, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. But just feeling Disney movies, apparently, because then I watched Alice in Wonderland, and that wrapped up January there as well, finishing with The Little Mermaid. Moving on to February, watched Alice in Wonderland. Yikes. I did not care for Alice in Wonderland. It just felt like a bunch of scenes put together. It didn't really feel like a cohesive, fluent movie. I didn't much care for it. It was a tough watch. I found myself often just being like, how did we even get here? 30 seconds ago we were doing something completely different, and I know maybe that's the kind of the movie that it's going for. It's like a fever dream, but I don't know. Maybe how well it encapsulated a fever dream is what I should be appreciating, but I didn't like it. The Aristocats. Unbelievable movie, man. The music in this is great. You have Phil Harris reprising his, not reprising his role, but just coming back to do another Disney film. Obviously, he voiced Baloo. He's voiced Little John and Robin Hood, and then Thomas O'Malley, maybe his best role of all time, just from the songs alone. He is unbelievable in this movie. This is a really great movie. I'm a cat fan, you know what I mean? I like cats, so I'm always going to be a little bit biased for this one, but the music in this one is really, really good. And you have Scatman Crothers, like, holy shit. Scatman Crothers and Phil Harris doing a song together in a Disney movie is always going to slap different. And then I watched Hercules. Liked Hercules. My favorite part about watching this movie was my girlfriend's reaction to seeing Danny DeVito voicing the little Centaur guy. I can't remember his name, but anyway, that was the best part about this movie, genuinely. I thought I was going to like it a little bit more than I did, but it's not bad. It was just a good watchable movie. Beauty and the Beast, one of Disney's best. Even not necessarily 100% loving this movie, it's just so well made. It keeps your attention for every single second. Gaston is such a... I don't know how to describe him. He's such a good villain. Maybe one of Disney's best villains, truthfully, because he has so many different... you have a lot of different reasons to hate him. Whether you're rooting for Belle, obviously he's sexualizing Belle, or if you're rooting for Beast, he's obviously trying to kill Beast in the second half of the movie. And he's just a generally evil guy. He's a great villain. Then I watched Bullet Train. I really wanted to like this movie more than I did. I love Brad Pitt, man. I'm a huge Brad Pitt fan. My girlfriend really liked this movie, so I was like, man, I really was feeling like I was going to love it. I really hate the girl that plays the villain in this movie. I can't remember her name, but I hated her look in this movie. I mean, Jesus Christ. Yeah, something about it. I just could not... Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't get into her Dora the Explorer look. It wasn't very menacing to me. But after that, I watched another movie that I've always been a fan of, Scooby-Doo and Zombie Island. Very nostalgic movie for me. Unbelievable fucking music sequence as they run through the swamp when they first... It's Terror Time Again song sequence. Unbelievable. Great music. You could really call it a music video, I feel like. Just cut it up and make it a music video. Great movie. I'm sure a lot of people have probably seen it. It's pretty nostalgic. It's in that, set of those 4 really good VHS Scooby-Doo movies that came out, so... On to Good Will Hunting. Seen this movie already. My girlfriend wanted to watch it, and I was like, it's been a while since I've seen it. Such a good movie. I mean, Robin Williams and young Matt Damon. And young Ben Affleck, too. There's just a lot to like about this movie. There's so much character, so much personality. It tells a really, really just heartwarming story. And I'm pretty sure, everybody is somewhat familiar with it just based off of spoofs alone. And I took a little break of watching movies. Watched Godzilla vs. Kong. I actually watched this movie from jail. I had a little funny run-in, for anybody who's familiar with the channel. A little funny weekend overnight, you know what I mean? But watched this movie in jail. I watched a couple movies in the Pokey, but this is the only one that I was able to watch, fully. I was able to fully pay attention to it, fully understand what was going on, and fully hear it as well. So I'd already seen it as well, but anyway. Watch Raging Bull. I mean, this is an unbelievably good biopic. It's so good that you can watch it and not even know you're watching a biopic. Like you could just think that Sugar Ray Robinson is like a cameo in the movie, really. But it tells the story of Jake LaMotta. If you haven't seen this movie, please watch it. If you're a fight fan, I know a lot of people who watch my videos, are into MMA from the live streams. Please watch this movie. If you're ever curious of man, I wonder what Tony Ferguson's home life is like, watch Raging Bull. Then I watched Shawshank Redemption. This was a rewatch. This movie is so unbelievably good. You haven't seen it, watch it. I'm sure everybody here has. 5-star movie. It's perfect. And then I watched Arrival. I had this movie on the back burner for a long time, and I was waiting to watch it for a long, long time. And a lot of people had told me the twist in it was insane. Whenever you get to that twist, your mind's going to be blown. And I was waiting for it. I was hyped. I was like, man, I am ready for my mind to be blown from this twist. And it never really came, unfortunately. I wasn't really shocked by what happens halfway through the movie. I won't spoil it, but it wasn't super... I mean, it was shocking, but it wasn't it didn't make a lot... I had to really think about it. It wasn't man, all those clues they've put into this really led up. At least on the first watch. Maybe I have to rewatch it and I'll understand a little bit better. Then I watched Insomnia. I really, really, really enjoyed this movie. Obviously, the story about a man going up to Alaska during the time of the year whenever it's daytime, nonstop, 24/7, and he can't sleep. He's getting fucked with. He's trying to solve the disappearance of a little girl case while he is, suffering from insomnia. Please watch this movie if you want to just watch a really good, tense performance. Then I watched Magnolia. Man, I don't really remember much about this movie, if I'm going to be honest with you. I know it's an anthology movie, and I really don't remember much. Oh, yeah, I remember being a little bit more now. Tom Cruise plays a real weird fuck in this movie. Plays a real weird fucker. incel borderline, if I'm remembering. Um, Weird, forgettable movie. If I'm remembering right, it has a pretty memorable director who did this. Yeah, it was a Paul Thomas Anderson flick. Came out the year I was born, so wish I liked it a little bit more than I did, but hey. Anyway, moving on. Watched A Bug's Life. This should have been I should have logged this as a rewatch because I've seen A Bug's Life a gajillion times. This was a mess up here. Bug's Life is great. I've actually, after watching it, I found that people didn't like this movie as much as I did, through other Letterboxd reviews. But hey, anyway, it's a 4-star movie to me. Pretty damn good. Then I watched The Godfather. My girlfriend really wanted to watch this, and then she fell asleep. And I was like, hey, fuck it, I'll finish it. Probably should have watched 2 and 3 after this, but I found out some weird stuff about the third one where like it got recut, and it kind of turned me off from watching them. So anyway, then I watched Breakfast at Tiffany's. This is a movie I've always wanted to watch, and I can really relate to Tiffany in this movie. Just a man wants to love her, but not a man in my case, god damn it. But someone wants to love you, but you just can't keep your damn vices and your wild side down. I totally relate to Tiffany in this movie, and this is a banger. Please watch this. Then I watched The Jungle Book 2. Extremely biased rating here. This is the most biased rating you'll see on my entire letterbox. This movie's probably not as good as it's just basically the first movie again, but all the recastings they did for the voices were so good. I mean, you have a young Haley Joel Osment as Mowgli, and then, oh my god, John Goodman as Blue is unreal. That's an unbelievable casting. I love that so much. Great movie. I personally enjoyed it a whole lot. Then, at my girlfriend's request once again, I watched Fist Fight. My girlfriend's a Charlie Day fan. I actually might like this movie a little bit more than my rating says here. If I watch it again, it may even get like a 4. I mean, I've actually asked a few times, like, hey, you want to watch Fist Fight again since watching this? And she said no, but I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was pretty damn funny. I think that the Charlie Day Ice Cube pairing is really good. And I'd recommend it if you're into those just kind of toss away comedies. I'd 100% recommend it. Horrible Bosses. Again, we were kind of just watching some Charlie Day movies. But man, I will say, I didn't realize I'd seen, I've watched Horrible Bosses before. As you can see, it was a rewatch. And I even have it logged on my letterbox before, which is kind of funny to think about. Because as I was watching this movie, I started realizing slowly, I've seen this fucking movie before. What the fuck? It was, I'm not going to spoil the movie, so I won't say when. But it was around a time that, a shooting happened. And I was like, dude, I've seen this movie. And I put it on my letterbox, and sure enough, I had logged it before. So I guess that makes this movie pretty damn forgettable. Anyway, 12 Angry Men. This movie is so good. You could basically watch this movie with the sound off and the storytelling of 12 people in one room trying to decide the fate of a young man's stabbing case is... It's ridiculous. The visual storytelling is so good. It's so on point. I can't recommend this movie enough. Please, if you're going to watch this, watch the version from 1957. Do not watch the remake. Then I watched How to Train Your Dragon. I thought I was going to like this franchise a little bit more. As you'll see, I ended up watching the entire franchise throughout the year. I thought I was going to like it a little bit more than I did. I was really excited to watch the third one, especially because people rate that movie insanely high. But it was a good movie. Ultimately, it was just a pretty good movie. And moving on to the next page here. As we get to Horrible Bosses 2. Man, I don't remember any... Oh, no, I remember this movie a little bit. They needed Kevin Spacey to help them start a business or something, or whatever they're trying to do. Yeah. And it's a very racist name, if I'm remembering right. It's like a combination of all their names, and it's racist as hell. Anyway, just whatever movie. Then I watched Trolls. Why not? I love Anna Kendrick. I love her voice. Justin Timberlake, base Packers fan. So, checked out Trolls. Not a bad movie, just a whatever movie. Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy. Probably should have rated this one a 4-star. This one actually got some good laughs out of me, and I was not expecting that at all. So, there you go. Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. This one probably deserves a rewatch for me because I was damn near falling asleep as I was watching it. But Nick Cage playing Nick Cage in a world with a bunch of Nick Cages is about the level of quality you're going to expect from this movie. And just right down the barrel, 3 stars is all I gave it. Kung Fu Panda. So I actually had the opportunity to see Kung Fu Panda 4 a little bit early. My girlfriend used to work at a movie theater, so she was invited to come and watch the movie early. So I tried to watch all the Kung Fu Pandas in one day, and it just wasn't happening. I ended up watching one of them. Love this movie. I saw it as a kid a bunch of times. Probably should have logged it as a rewatch, but then went right into Kung Fu Panda 4. Both these movies were of the same quality. This movie actually got a little bit of hate. I don't really know why. I found this movie to be completely fine. Then I watched Anaconda. Yeah, I don't know. I watched Anaconda. Ice Cube and Jennifer Lopez fighting an anaconda on the Amazon River. And that is the quality of movie you're getting here. Then I watched Ice Age, rewatched it. Probably should have gave this a 4-star. I really enjoyed this. I love Ice Age. It's so funny. A great iconic voice casting trio here. They all work so well together, bounce off each other perfectly. Dialogue's really funny, genuinely funny. Like, it'll get good laughs out of you. The diaper jokes and the fucking just ragging on, absolutely destroying Sid's soul and crushing his life is content. Moving on, watch How to Train Your Dragon 2. I don't remember why I didn't like this movie, but apparently I gave it a 3-star. I think some shit happens in this movie that just didn't make any sense to me. And because of that, I was like, this movie's not that great. Moving on. Throw Mama from the Train. Danny DeVito directed even, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And Billy Crystal. Yeah, directed by Danny DeVito as well. And Billy Crystal, this movie's awesome. I can't recommend this movie enough. If you are into that era of comedy, and especially if you're into like that Billy Crystal, just please watch this movie. I can't recommend it. If you need a movie to just make you feel good, uplift your spirits, it is a comedic take on Alfred Hitchcock's Strangers on a Train. So I find it to be extremely creative as well. Kung Fu Panda, watch it again because I then went to watch on 2 and 3. This time I actually rated it a little bit better than 4 stars. I gave it a 4.5. I think that actually makes a little bit of sense. Very, very good movie. I love Tai Lung. Dude's a fucking G. Kung Fu Panda 2. Yeah. Kung Fu Panda 2 was awesome. I really liked the whatever that was, the crane or whatever the hell that fucking bird, whatever it was, the villain. I thought it was awesome. I thought that him... I'm trying to remember all of the stuff about this movie as I'm sitting here and thinking off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure this is the one where he is trying to find his dad, if I'm not mistaken, towards the end. And I think the third one is where he's found his dad and he's trying to help the other pandas, if I'm correct there. I think so. In the third one with all the other pandas, I actually found it to be a little bit less interesting. How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World. I was really excited for this movie. Ended up not caring about it all that much. Hiccup finds his mom, and that's pretty much what happens. Monsters University, like this movie way more than I thought I would. A lot of people said this movie wasn't very good. Said the sequel to Monsters Inc. should have just never happened because it was so long after. But Billy Crystal and John Goodman both reprising their role. They're both unbelievably iconic. And yeah, 100% I recommend this movie, especially if you're a fan of the original. Psycho. Everybody's seen Psycho that's watching this. If you're watching a Letterboxd Ramble video and you're 22 minutes and 34 seconds in and you haven't seen Psycho, you should be 22 minutes and now 39 seconds into Psycho because you should be watching that instead of this video 100 fucking percent. It's a much better use of your time. Great movie. Have to rewatch it every couple months. It's so good. Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. Always good for a laugh. This movie's clowning. This movie's just clown. That's the best way to describe it. It's clowning. Jim Carrey's gold. If you like football, you're going to really love this movie. The tranny jokes in this movie hit different. The 90s were an epic time. Yeah, this movie was funny. Nomadland. I was so excited for Nomadland. Actually, yeah, I guess I leave a Letterboxd review right here. Very strong on the first half that falls apart as the movie gets going. Yeah, it's really hard to kind of keep your attention. It would have worked better as a short film, I think. But I think it was a short film. I never would have watched it. So I guess I'm glad that it wasn't a short film. Basically just follows Frances McDormand living in her van, driving across the country, living as a nomad. It's really interesting, man. I really, really like this movie. Dealing with health concerns, having to work different sweat jobs, basically. Amazon, FedEx, shit like that. Then I watched The Craft. Based-ass sexy witch movie. 100% would recommend it if you need to get a goon off, but whatever. On the Roadhouse. I watched Roadhouse, both the first one and the second one back-to-back. The first one is unreal, dude. The first one is so fucking good. The motives for why he's staying in the town are so good. He actually genuinely cares about It almost reminds me of an old Western, I can't remember which one it is, but in the original The Man with No Name trilogy, the one where he comes into the town, I think it's Fistful of Dollars, where he comes into the town and he sees that the town is being basically fucking ran by a corrupt-ass... Roadhouse really is like a soft retelling of that story. He comes into town, sees that the town's being ran by a corrupt-ass family, and now he wants to take it upon himself to help out these people. The original Roadhouse had great motives. At any point in time, he could have just up and left. He had so much money saved up. He had a badass car, but he didn't. He stayed because he was a bad motherfucker. He stayed because he was going to defend his own honor and the people around him's honor. And hey, what he used to do to guys in prison. That's all I'm going to say. If you've seen this movie, you know what he used to do to guys in prison. But the second Roadhouse, or Roadhouse, the remake with Jake Gyllenhaal, his motives are shit. He doesn't actually care about anything. He needs money. He's a broke bum of a thing, as Conor McGregor would say. And Conor McGregor is the best part about this movie. It's not even close. And a movie with Jake Gyllenhaal when Conor McGregor is the best part, that's really bad. Like, that's real bad. But I don't watch this movie. Please watch the original if you're interested in this story. And then I watched The Jungle Book again. Such a good movie, man. Banger fucking movie. Watch The Jungle Book. You know, if you don't know all the words to all the Jungle Book songs, I can't fuck with you for real. When I watched the original Monsters, Inc., weird that I watched them in different order, but I already seen Monsters, Inc., of course, before I watched University. Great movie. Love this movie. I can really relate to Mike Wazowski in a lot of parts of this movie. And hey, hopefully that just tells you a little bit about Calico. Fool's Paradise, Charlie Day's directorial debut, and man, what a stinker of a thing this movie was. I did not like this movie. For a movie with all these stars, Charlie Day, Ken Jeong, Kate Beckinsale, Adrian Brody, Jason Sudeikis, Ray Liotta, Jason Bateman, maybe that's about it. But I cannot believe that you're going to give this kind of quality of movie, Charlie Day. I really was expecting more out of you. Then I watched End of Watch. Great Jake Gyllenhaal found footage police body cam cop movie. And if that sounds interesting to you, please watch it. If that even sounds a little bit interesting to you, please watch it because it's great. It is awesome. It's like a found footage police body cam cop movie that follows two rookie cops who are on the heels of a huge cartel breakthrough that may just put them in danger, of dying because they're fucking revealing some secrets that they should not be revealing. Then I watched Baby Driver. Great movie. Apparently this movie is getting a sequel, so this is actually probably a decent little time to talk about it, I guess, but not going to talk about it too much. Great soundtrack to this movie, great performance from everybody. Obviously, it's a little bit weird watching these movies now that Kevin Spacey has been outed as a freak, but it's still a great movie. Then I watched Star Wars for the first time. Yeah, I never watched Star Wars, so I was like, I'm going to try to watch some Star Wars movies. I like the first Star Wars. I really should have put this as a rewatch because I have actually seen the first Star Wars. Only that, though. And I watched it back in high school just because I was like, man, I was trying to get into movies and I knew I was going to have to watch it at some point and I just didn't like it. So then I rewatched the Super Mario Brothers movie. My girlfriend really likes this movie. And, it's got some pretty clown-ass voice actors in it. Charlie Day being one of them. Chris Pratt. And, of course, Jack Black and Seth Rogen. So, it's a whatever movie. Empire Strikes Back. I thought this movie was just as good. People seem to like Empire the most out of the original trilogy. I thought that Empire, I thought it was good, of course, but Return of the Jedi for me was really where it was at. And I watched it the same day. You get everything in this movie, man. You get the Ewok. My review here will probably sum it up pretty well. Everything you want. You get Yoda, you get Han and Chewie, R2 and 3PO, you get Ewoks. Yeah, this movie is awesome right here. 100% awesome. This movie is where it's fucking at. And then I watched Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer's great. I had this poster hanging up on my wall for a fat minute, so I needed to watch this movie, so I finally got it out of the way. I wouldn't say I liked it as much as I thought I was going to like it, but it was still a good movie. Good performance. Just long. Just went really long. And I already knew the entire story, so the entire time I'm just kind of like, damn, I would not watch a YouTube video about how long this is. And it just kind of felt like a YouTube video because I've already I already knew about all this. Moving on. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. People really hate this movie, but dude, how can you not like this movie? The pod racing in this movie is awesome. Like, what did I say right here? Anakin leaving C-3PO was cold. Oh my god. Hold up. For anybody that's still watching this movie, still watching this video, I'm gonna throw this in here for you.
Hello, Master Anakin.
Well, 3PO, I've been freed, and I'm going away in a starship.
Master Anakin, you are my mentor, and I wish you well. However, I should prefer it if I were a little more completed.
I'm sorry I wasn't able to finish you, 3PO. Give you coverings and all. I'm gonna miss working on you. You've been a great pal. I'll make sure Mom doesn't sell you or anything.
Sell me?
When I tell you I fucking burst out laughing at that scene, that's one of the coldest moments in film history, straight up. Anakin made C-3PO, he gave him life, left him unfinished, wires and everything out, and said, hey, I'm leaving on a starship, dog, and I'm going to just let Mom know, please don't sell him. Moving on, I watched Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. This movie gets way too much hate. The slasher genre is basically dead, and any original slasher is going to pique my interest. This movie was not great by any means at all, but this movie was interesting, and I would like to see one of these every year. I'm not even kidding. I would like to see a Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey movie every single year. Moving on, I watched Hush. I really didn't like this movie. I watched this movie back in like 2016, 2017 on Netflix, and I actually liked it a lot whenever I watched it then. But rewatching it here, I didn't care for it. I thought it was not very good. Mars Attacks, another movie I was surprised I didn't care for very much. I was really excited for this movie. Extremely star-studded cast: Danny DeVito, Jack Nicholson. I'm honestly forgetting a lot of the people that are in this movie, but Tim Burton directed. Just not very interesting to me. I think this movie you had to watch it when you were young, and it's more of a nostalgia thing, personally. Jackie Brown, another movie I was surprised I didn't like. Quentin Tarantino movie, obviously. It does have an interesting concept, but I just didn't really buy Jackie Brown's character. I didn't believe that she was as badass and conniving and in the know as she was. Watched Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. Thought this one was considerably better. Basically, all because of, obviously, just having so much more of a budget to make this movie. If you like slasher movies, you have to watch these, because the kills are pretty fucking violent, and the story is not horrible at all. And honestly, Christopher Robin is a pretty sick, like, Tommy Jarvis-esque character. Moving on, watch Pineapple Express. I had seen this movie before, but I was baked out of my mind both times watching it, so I don't really remember all that much about it. I remember having a pretty wicked soundtrack, though. Then I watched This Is the End. This movie's always hilarious. Every time I watch it, there's multiple parts about this movie that make me fucking crack up. Danny McBride is legendary. If you just need a good throwaway Seth Rogen, James Franco comedy, please check this one out. Four Rooms, great anthology. I forget who directed this, but it's somebody... No, maybe not. I thought that there was somebody that directed... Maybe Tim Roth is who I'm thinking about. Obviously, he's a director, but he plays the character in the movie. If you like anthology movies, check it out. If not, don't check it out. Whatever. Death of a Cyclist. I really wanted to watch this movie for a long time. French movie. Basically follows the story of two people who, a couple, not a couple, but two people who are having an affair with each other, who are speeding down the road having an argument. They actually accidentally hit a cyclist, and they don't want to call the police to say anything because they don't want their affair to be outed. So they spend the entire movie just an anxious movie, anxiety movie. But for 1955, it's really creative, very good. Knocked Up. This movie sucks. Don't watch this movie. Night on Earth, another interesting anthology movie. I must have just been feeling the anthology movies right here. But I would check it out, potentially. It has a really young Jodie Foster playing a cab driver, which was really interesting. If you're into anthologies, I'd check it out. I'd probably say that about the majority of anthologies on this list, if I'm being honest with you. Assault on Precinct 13. Oh, no, sorry. Step Brothers. This movie's classic. If you haven't watched this movie, go watch Step Brothers. Again, this is like Psycho. This is like a classic comedy. Please go watch this right now. This should actually be rated higher. Assault on Precinct 13. John Carpenter movie. Really boring, honestly. This movie was... I was just like struggling to stay awake for this one. The Descent. This one was actually very surprising. Follows a group of girls who go down into a cave. They get lost because they... find out that the cave they go into is not the one they were supposed to because their friend wants to be, ambitious and surprise them. But there is more to this cave than it seems. And I would check it out, 100%. The Descent Part 2 is actually better than I thought it would be. I thought I'd be rating this movie like a 2-star. Actually pretty enjoyed it. It's interesting, and I can't really explain why because you really have to watch it. It could have been such a very cheap ripoff, but it actually tells the story and continues it in an interesting way. So I'd have to recommend to watch both of them if you're going to watch them. Into the Wild tells the story of what the hell is this guy's name? Christopher McCandless, of course. This guy was a kind of an idiot, and he got himself killed being an idiot. So it was kind of hard to watch this movie knowing what happens to him, and I didn't enjoy it all that much. It's really, really long as well. The Cave. This movie must have sucked a lot because I really like these kind of movies, and I don't remember. Oh, no, I do remember a little bit about this movie now that I'm thinking about it. I'm remembering more about it. Just not a very good, memorable movie. The Descent really got me into this cave diving feel, and that's why I watched 47 Meters Down Uncaged, even though I haven't seen the first one, just because I wanted to watch. What did I say about this movie? I'm actually curious. Yeah, my hunt to find a good shark movie will never stop. That's actually 100% true. And then this, shaky camera work, interesting. Anyway, can't recommend either of these movies. On to the very last page. And that takes us to Sanctum. Just another really forgettable underwater cave diving movie. I can't recommend these underwater cave diving movies unless one of them stands out like The Descent does. Even though it's not really underwater. Some parts are wet, but not underwater necessarily. Little Miss Sunshine rewatch, incredible movie. Please watch this movie if you just need a good feel. Like, it's about pageants, but it's not. It's a road trip movie. The pageants at the very end of the movie, and even the pageant scene is funny as hell. So, but great Steve Carell performance and great young Paul Dano performance, looking like the guy from the Lorax. Bone Tomahawk. Holy fuck! If you like horror movies, if you like Western movies, you need to watch Bone Tomahawk. This movie is unreal. This movie is absolutely awesome. Please, please, please check it out. Then I watched An American Werewolf in London. This movie has one of the most unreal werewolf transformation scenes you'll ever see in all of film. The scene runs for like 4 minutes, so I really can't show it, but you have to check it out. I cannot recommend checking it out enough, especially for the time that it came out. I mean, 1981, no CGI, all prosthetics. It really doesn't even make sense how they did it. Moving on, rewatched Shaun of the Dead. I watched the entire Cornetto trilogy right here. Really good movies, and honestly, I can't believe how good The World's End truthfully is. Even reading the premise of this movie going into it, I was like, this movie's not going to be very good. This alien invasion isn't like my thing, honestly. But wow, this movie is great. Please check it out. Please, please, please check it out. Hot Fuzz in the middle, obviously. I feel like a lot of people have probably seen Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, and The World's End probably is the one that a lot of people haven't seen. Please check it out, though. Then I watched Mean Girls and the remake. The first Mean Girls, honestly, is pretty damn good. It's not bad. What did I say about it here? Yeah, they should give this movie a pink star like they did Barbie. 100% accurate, by the way. What I will say, though, is fuck. Do not watch this Mean Girls musical remake or whatever it is. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen. It's a huge pile of dog shit. It's insanely bad. Anyway, moving on to Don't Breathe 1 and 2. I liked Don't Breathe a lot until I got to the villain's true motives and what he was doing, and I found it disgusting and disturbing, and now I'm rooting. It's a back and forth of who the movie wants you to root for, and I don't think they handled it very well because neither person is very likable. And then Don't Breathe 2, I actually just don't remember any. Oh, I do remember this movie. He's getting that little girl. Yeah, and then, he kidnapped this little girl. It's like, what the fuck? Why am I rooting for this guy, They really tried to make the villain, a likable raper and murderer. It's like, this is like the evil version of The Last of Us, you know what I mean? Anyway, then I watched The Rental. What the hell even is this movie? I don't even remember anything about this movie. Oh, I do actually. I mean, as you can see here, a bland and soulless movie. I do remember this movie. It's about people who move into a house and they realize that they're being watched or stalked or something, and they're slowly killed off. It's just horrible. Do not watch this movie. So bad. Then we watched Sam Raimi's Drag Me to Hell. This is a true Sam Raimi disaster class movie. There is a scene in this movie, like a car fighting scene in this movie, where the demon fights the lady, and it is straight out of fucking Looney Tunes. Like, it is hilariously bad. I wouldn't recommend this movie. The original The Fly, this movie is pretty damn good. I've seen the David Cronenberg's Fly many, many times, so I had to check it out. And yeah, I would say it's not as good as David Cronenberg's take on it, the remake, but it's a damn good movie. And for 1958, it holds its own, keeping your attention. Matilda, I had actually never seen this movie growing up, so watching it for fresh eyes, I realized, it's a pretty damn good movie, actually. It's not all nostalgia, I wouldn't say. I actually found it to be a pretty interesting movie. The War of the Roses, again, a movie I don't remember very... Oh, I do remember this movie. This is actually a pretty interesting movie. It follows Danny DeVito, who's a therapist, and he's kind of retelling the story of how two lovers slowly start to hate each other. I almost said Mr. and Mrs. Smith style, but it's really not in that vein at all. It's much more psychological than that, 100%. I would check this movie out if you're into like that psychological, like Lifetime kind of movie with a touch of Danny DeVito. Then I watched Nobody. Obviously, this is just a John Wick ripoff, but the movie's pretty damn good. It's not bad. Bob Odenkirk doing his thing as pretend John Wick. Then I moved on to watch Twister. Growing up in Ohio, this movie kind of hit home a little bit because I remember every fucking month having to, get in the bathtub, get away from the windows, get in the closet, get in the basement, wherever we were living at the time. And, the tornado warnings. Oh, everybody's checking the TV and everything is fucking loud noises. Everybody who lives in the Midwest can relate to this movie, and for that, I enjoyed it. Late Night with the Devil, I cannot recommend this movie enough. For anybody hating on this movie and the CGI or AI and shit, fuck off. Movie's a banger. The general concept of this movie will get through regardless of the AI or whatever you want to complain about. I'd watch this movie. The Virgin Suicides, I just could not care about what was happening in this movie. I found this movie to be very boring. If I rewatched it, I'd probably rate it a little bit less than what I even did. Wouldn't watch it. Here Comes the Boom. If you're an MMA fan, watch this fucking movie. It's about Kevin James. Yeah, not actually Kevin James, but Kevin James plays a man who is an English teacher who has a good history, not history, but a good background in wrestling, and believes that if he can win a UFC fight, that he can pay for the art division. But he quickly finds out that he cannot win these fights and that he is just getting knocked out. I'd watch it though. If you are a MMA fan, a UFC fan, watch this movie. It's funny. I actually wonder what I said about it at the time. I said, I may be a little biased, sure, because I'm an MMA fan, but this movie is very charming, is a good way to put that, yes. ATM, Josh Peck horror movie. Not as bad as you would imagine it to be. I would actually, digestible 90-minute horror movie is a good way to put this. I would actually, if you're into that, I want to watch a good little 90-minute horror movie, I'd check it out. The Flood is a crocodile movie about a prison being attacked by alligators. And yeah, like I said here, Assault on Precinct 13 with alligators. I actually enjoyed this movie a good amount. I would recommend it. It was pretty funny. Freddy Got Fingered. This movie is fucking crazy. This movie is wild. It's raunchy. It's off the fucking rail. It would not get released today. There's not a shot in hell it would get released today. It'd be rated XXX, and it would only be being released on Pornhub. But Freddy Got... It's not a porno, but Freddy Got Fingered's a clown-ass movie. I'd watch it. It's funny as hell. Tom Green. I don't know how Tom Green made this movie and then never made another movie, because this movie had me cracking the fuck up the whole time. I Spit on Your Grave. Oh, yeah, this is a remake of, obviously, a classic grape revenge story, and that's what it is. It's a grape revenge story, and it was alright. Man on the Moon, great movie, man. Jim Carrey playing Andy Kaufman will never not be great. And then obviously you have a touch of Danny DeVito in this one playing his agent, and Danny DeVito also was friends with Andy Kaufman, worked with him on the set of Taxi, so it adds a lot of layers to this movie, and this movie was just unreal. Jim Carrey's performance in this movie is honestly one of the greatest biopic performances of all time. Have to respect it. Cabin Fever, Cabin Fever is a banger. Honestly, I wouldn't say a banger, but if you're into like gory, over the top, disgusting, if you need that to satisfy your craving sometimes, watch Cabin Fever. A movie just about a bunch of kids who are on a summer vacation at a cabin, and their water gets infected by this virus that is making them just fall apart. Cabin 2, Spring Fever, is terrible. It's Cabin Fever without the cabin, and it's awful. It takes place in a high school. I would not watch this movie at all. I should have rated it lower. Pontypool is a very interesting movie. If you like zombie movies, please watch Pontypool. Actually, we're going to set Pontypool aside. I think Pontypool may be a movie I consider making a video about, because it is a very, very good movie. It follows a man who is trying to... There's a potential zombie apocalypse happening around them, and he's delivering from a radio show the news to his audience, trying to explain to them what's happening as the people around him keep telling him, we can't 100% say this, we can't 100% say that, and he's trying his best to balance what's happening. In the movie, as it goes along, you learn more and more about what's happening. I would recommend this movie 100%. Uncut Gems, this is Adam Sandler's best movie, his best performance. This movie is amazing. Please watch it. I'm not going to talk about it too much. Just watch it. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Another movie, a 5-star movie. This movie has one of the greatest soundtracks of all time. George Clooney is unreal in this movie. Tim Blake Nelson's unreal in this movie. The Coen brothers are at their best in this movie. Prison breakout, redneck, bluegrass retelling of Odyssey by Homer is insane to say, honestly, and they just nail it, and it's unbelievable. South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. It's so strange to me that George Clooney voices a character in this movie, and I didn't know that until I looked at the credits, because his voice just stands out to me like a sore thumb. But this movie is so good. It's just a long episode of South Park. Please watch it if you haven't seen it. Basketball, I probably could have rated this movie higher. This movie's actually pretty goddamn funny.
If you had a $100 bill hanging out of your zipper.
Yeah, I could.
No, dude, you're a little bitch.
I am not. I don't even know why I hang out with you guys.
Because you're a piece of shit.
I am not a piece of shit.
Well, yeah, but you're a little bitch. Sure are.
God damn it, man. I swear you guys whip on me 13 or 14 more times. I'm out of here.
Well, whatever. Dude, I gotta show you the scoreboard,
And obviously, you have Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the creators of South Park, playing real life roles, which is very interesting for them. Moving on, I watched all the Jackass movies, and this was a great time. I really enjoyed all of these. I think that they are pretty much all the same quality, except for 2. I think 2 stands out as the best here. I've been working on a Jackass 2 video for a little bit. I'm trying to really perfect it before I put it out. But I would recommend all of these, especially the 0.5s. If you haven't seen the 0.5s, they're basically just... I don't know why they didn't release them as full-on movies, because they are just full-on movies. Except for 4.5. It is a little bit more of a documentary in this one, I think. Then I watched Challengers. This movie was ass. For real, this movie was ass. Everybody was saying this movie was so great. I was sitting down, I was like, okay, I don't need to see sexy tennis and Zendaya making boys kiss, and I don't like any of that. I didn't like this movie. I don't like just... Everything doesn't have to be a metaphor for sex, and especially whenever your metaphor is so obvious. I mean, you have no subtlety to what you're doing at all. It's not very good. Moving on to Shrek 2, a much better movie than Challenger. Shrek 2 is a perfect movie. This movie's soundtrack is unbelievable. The voice acting is great. The story is great. Far, Far Away is a great setting to take from the swamp. Amazing movie. Shrek the Third, fucking clown-ass movie, man. Horrible movie. Don't watch Shrek the Third. Shrek should have ended right here at 2. It would have been great. Puss in Boots, I thought this movie was going to be ass, honestly. I really thought this movie was going to be ass because it took so long to get a sequel made, and so I assumed that the first one was ass, but no, not at all. Puss in Boots is a fine movie. Humpty Dumpty's a great little villain kind of character, and obviously you get the introduction of Kitty Softpaws in this movie. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I actually kind of want to make a video on this movie as well, just talking about the villain of this movie. I thought the wolf in this movie was one of the best villains we've seen, honestly, in film, so... Thoroughly enjoyed Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Would definitely check it out if you like animated movies. You could watch this probably without even watching this movie. King Kong. I grew up on King Kong, man. I didn't really fully grow up on Lord of the Rings all that much. My epic growing up was Peter Jackson's King Kong. Like a lot of people grew up on Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. I grew up on Peter Jackson's King Kong, watching it over and over and over again. A lot of people complain about the boat scenes taking too long to get to Skull Island. But once you get there, the movie is fucking full pedal to the metal. Unbelievable. Great movie. The CGI still holds up. Really, the only thing that doesn't hold up is the green screening. Shin Godzilla. Can't believe it took me so long to watch this movie. Great movie, man. If you're into Godzilla, please watch this. The story, the story for the B story for the humans is amazing in this movie. I mean, you never really even find out Godzilla's true intentions, I guess, and it's interesting. I would definitely recommend watching this movie. Then I watched Overlord. This movie's disgusting, bro. This movie is great Nazi killing movie. Not as good as Inglourious Basterds, not even close, but it's more of like a super mutant Nazi movie, like a zombie Nazi movie almost in a way. I would definitely recommend it. Please watch it. Unsane. I really thought this movie fell apart in the second half. I was really into what they were going for whenever it was kind of like interesting, like, is she crazy, is she not? But then they fully just tell you and unmask, and once they do, I'm like, not very interesting anymore at that point, I think. And to finish off this first half of the year, I watched Dredd, obviously adapted from the Judge Dredd comics. This movie is so good. It just takes place all in one setting, like the one big building they're in, and the action is so good. The deaths are so good. His gun is basically a fucking his gun is basically a Deus Ex Machina. It can just do whatever he wants. He needs it to be incendiary, it can be incendiary. He needs it to be explosive, it can be explosive. And it's awesome to watch. I would definitely check out Judge Dredd if you're into like those shoot 'em up action style of movies. And that'll pretty much wrap up this video. I appreciate anybody who watched it. You know what I mean? Really just a ramble style video. If you didn't watch this video on ×2 speed, I feel for you because I would have 100% watched it on ×2. Anyway, though, I appreciate anybody who watched it. If you liked the video, go ahead and drop a like. If you did not like the video, definitely drop a dislike. And hey, please subscribe. Have a good one, you guys. Take it easy.